Hello lovely butterfly, welcome back to my channel where it's all about connecting you with your creative enthusiasm. Today we're going to talk ombre, but before we do, look at this beautiful little package which was sent to me by our sponsor of this video. But it's not only a little gift from me, it's also for you. So I thought it would be fun to unpack it together. I take it that by now you're burning with curiosity to know what's inside. Well, this was sent to me by Hardycraft, and Hardycraft makes, among other things, craft sheets. Just look at these. This is the iron on, so it's a mini tiny one. Isn't this just the cutest thing? And yes, I'm excited because these are for us. It's not just for me, it's for us. So these are the big ones. This is the medium-sized one, and there's also a bigger one in the package. So I'm just going to go ahead and unpack one and get it on my table to see how it reacts when we work on it. So the reason I'm super excited about this craft sheet is this right there. It has the silicone backing, which makes it stick into place. And it's not sticking as in sticky. It's not sticking to my finger, but it's non-slip. So I cleaned my table as good as I could. This is clean. I swear, this is clean. I cleaned it. I know it doesn't look like it. I'm looking where I want to have it on my table. And I know it looks wonky compared to my camera, but it's straight compared to my table. And now I can peel off the backing and then put it in place. And because it's just non-slip instead of sticky, I can still move it around very easily to really have it where I want to have it. And this was making me so happy. I mean, just look how smooth it is. And it's not going anywhere. It's staying in place. And yes, I know I'm super excited about a craft sheet. It's just a craft sheet. But I'm super excited because this is not only for me, it's for us. If you want to know how to win yours, stick around until the end of the video where I explain how you can win one, thanks to Hardycraft. Now that we have this beautiful craft sheet in place, let's talk ombre. To make it easier for myself, I'm creating a frame using washi tape on my watercolor paper. And the first technique that I'm going to show you to create an ombre is just with Fresco Finish, which is a chalky acrylic paint. And I'm just going to mix two colors. To visualize how my paint is going to go on the paper, I'm going to mix my colors in the direction that I want to have my gradient on the paper, so top to bottom. If I want to have my gradient left to right, I put my paint left to right on my craft sheet as well. This helps to see which color is supposed to go where. I'm starting with my first color, and as I'm going down, I am applying less and less color. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my darkest color, which of course I'm going to call B. And for some reason, my brain thought it would be funny to skip a step. So no, not that one. Let's go straight to the middle mixture. And then the next one. So going back up, I have less of my color B and more of my color A. And in the middle, I have equal parts of both colors. So 2 drops of A, 1 drop of B, and then 2 drops of A, 2 drops of B. And then that's where my brain woke up and realized we were missing a step because we also need 1 drop of A for 2 drops of B. And when this is all mixed, we actually already have the gradient on the craft sheet. So we just need to get this on the paper in a smooth way. I'm just using a regular paintbrush, and I also have a baby wipe at the ready to wipe off my paintbrush when needed. First thing, I am simply applying all the colors in lines underneath one another without any mixing, just putting the colors down. And this will help me visualize where my blending has to go. Now that I have put my darkest color down, I'm going to work my way back up, going back to the lighter colors. I'm only cleaning my paintbrush using the baby wipe. I'm not using any water because I don't want to dilute my paints. I just want to mix them. So I just need to make sure that I have the proper color on my paintbrush so that one color doesn't take over another one. And it will keep my paintbrush wet enough, moisturized enough, if that's how you say it in your complicated English, to keep on working the paint. Now, at some point, the paint might get too dry, and then I might need just a tiny bit of extra water to keep it fluid and going and mixable. So just working my way back up, going back to the lighter colors. Keep in mind when you're doing this that your products might change color as they're drying. Over here, the fresco finish from Paper Artsy, they actually become darker as they dry. So it might seem that I'm adding a lot of lighter color somewhere like this, but it's actually because it's wet paint over paint that's already started to dry and started to shift color. This is a technique that I really like to do because it allows me to really get to know my products. It really allows me to stretch the things that I could do with them, the possibilities that they offer me, and the ways that I want to use them in my art journaling. It's very soothing, very calming, very therapeutic to keep going back and forth until you have that perfect blending that you're looking for. No, I do not create perfect blending. It's just something that we'll look for, but hey, it's just fun to do. And yes, at this point, I need some water because my paint is starting to dry, yet I still want to move it around. So I'm just adding a tiny bit of water. Even if it looks like the paint is all of a sudden much, much lighter, that is just wet paint over drying paint. And then comes the fun part, the part where you peel away that mask and you see that you actually created a beautiful blending. And I don't know about you, but this makes my heart sing. And as my paint is not heat set yet, oh, this craft sheet, I mean, so easy to clean this up. So easy to clean this up. But my paint is not dried yet, so I can still go in with a baby wipe, and I have a tiny smudge at the bottom, which I can just wipe away because it's a good quality paper, and this paint is only totally permanent when it has been set over time or speed up with a heat gun. There you go, a first ombre by mixing 2 colors of paint. For my second one, I'm going to use this Lindy Stem Gang spray, which is the sweet violet purple teal. And to create my ombre, I'm going to add white. I could do this in a lot of ways, but I opted for a white spray. I don't have the Jack Frost white from Lindy's, so I'm going to use the Dilutions one, which is a white as well. I could do this with diluted gesso, with just white acrylic paint, whatever white it is you have. Just keep in mind that it will tone down your colors. So this Lindy's has a beautiful turquoise shimmer to it, but I'm going to kill that shimmer by adding the white. So yeah, sorry, we're going to kill the shimmer. I need a container to mix my colors in. I need to protect my white paper while I'm spritzing my color into my container. And at first I'm going to apply the color just like that. I did spray some water on my watercolor paper. You did not see that, but there's a tiny bit of water on there. So first I'm applying the color as such. And you can see in the container that turquoise shimmer, which we're going to kill. That is so sad. I'm adding a first drizzle of white, mixing it up. And now I can apply it on the paper. Just like with the paint, first I'm just putting the colors next to one another so that I can see which one is coming up till where before I start blending them. Adding some more white, and there's more water on my paper at the top than at the bottom of my rectangle that I'm working on, just to make it easier to keep that color going and moving. So we can already start to visualize the ombre. So now it's again a game of patience to mix. First, I'm pulling the color left to right, and then I'm also pulling the color bottom to top to pull the darkest color into the lighter color, making sure that I keep my paintbrush as clean as possible in between each and every stroke, so that I don't contaminate all the colors with one and the same color. I have a lot of white going on, so I need some more of my darkest color again. So unmixed, and I'm starting at the bottom again, so that I can again work my way from dark to light. And just like with the first technique, if the color won't pull anymore because they're starting to dry, make sure that your paintbrush is wet enough to allow it to move without adding any actual water to the colors. We don't want to dilute the colors. We just want to make sure that the paintbrush is smooth enough to continue moving. And here comes the fun part where you get to reveal. This really makes me happy. This looks pretty. It really makes me happy. It's just a simple rectangle with an ombre, but I really like this. And I know I say really a lot, but that's because I really mean it. So my colors did change again a little bit while drying, but I'm pretty happy with that result. For the last one, in this first part of the techniques, I'm using a watercolor, which I'm going to create an ombre with, adding water. So I'm using a watercolor paintbrush, watercolor paper. I have my container with my water ready. I have my baby wipe, my kitchen roll, and first I'm just putting down water on the paper. I was going to say first I'm putting down paper on the water. Yeah, sure. One day I will put my brain on. Again, I'm starting just with the darkest color at the bottom, and that is also where I have the least water. I'm leaving some space open to play with the gradient of the color so that I can estimate where I need what amount of water. And for the top part, I'm not adding any color to it. I'm just slightly wiping my paintbrush, rinsing my paintbrush, and then keeping whatever color it is I have on there to put at the top, diluted with water. So this is really a game of estimating where you should have which amount of water, because you cannot start by mixing on the side. And now that I have all my colors next to one another, I can start pulling them into one another, and I'm using again water to do so. My camera is picking that first part as a very harsh line, which it wasn't in reality. It was actually a pretty soft ombre, but my camera is making it look as if I had like this very harsh line at the top. Anyway, I can keep on playing with water and cleaning my paintbrush and adding more color, adding more water to blend until I'm happy with what I have. As long as I keep this color wet with water, as it is a watercolor, I can keep on going. The thing you do have to keep in mind is that once it's dark, it's harder to lighten it up again. You can add water to lighten it up again, but it will not become as light as it could be if you didn't went too dark. Does that make sense? When I was done, I did heat set it with my heat gun, and as you can see from the photo, that camera did not pick up any harsh line at the top, so this is really a very smooth mixing technique. Now I can also mix things up. For example, I could add water to my acrylic paint like I did here with the fresco finish, or I can add white to my watercolor like I did here with the Colorex, and it still creates a beautiful ombre. I wanted to give you two more little techniques to create an ombre which are super duper easy. For the first one, I'm applying my base color through my circle stencil, again on watercolor paper. Just doing it with my fingers, super duper fast and easy. I could switch things around and apply the lightest color first and then create the ombre with the darkest color, but I decided to do it this way around. And once my base is dry, I'm going back in with the lightest color and I'm going to create my ombre using a sponge and playing with the pressure. At the top, I'm applying more pressure, and as I go down, I go lighter and lighter and lighter. And again, to see if it's a good ombre, I need to remove that stencil so that I can see where I need to apply more accents of the lighter color to have a smooth gradient. There we are, a circle with a fast and easy ombre. For the second one, I'm starting in the same way, my darkest color as my base, just applying it super fast, super easy, using my finger, circle stencil on the watercolor paper. It's all about the ombre here, not about the pretty circles. But once that this is dry, I need to make sure that this will stay in place. So I'm using matte glaze from Paper Artsy to seal it. And just applying it in the same way. And now doing this, I realized that there's something seriously off with the white balance of my camera because that matte glaze does not look blue, it looks white. This shows just how off the colors can be. Now I can apply the lighter color, and at this point I should have left my brain on because I did apply it and I left it lighter at the bottom of the circle than at the top of the circle. As you can see, it's slightly more translucent at the bottom. But then I completely heat set it with my heat gun, which I should not have done. I should have very slightly dried it because I want to lift the color again. Now I can still lift it, but instead of having something that lifts in a very easy, smooth way, I really have to work the baby wipe here. Work the baby wipe, that sounds a funny expression. Well, I have to work the baby wipe here so that I can lift the lightest color. And that is why I needed to seal my base color first, because otherwise I would just be lifting everything. So if you want to do this, make sure that your base color stays in place. I need to remove the stencil to see where it is exactly that I need to accentuate it a bit more to have a really circle shape in my ombre. It's not a rectangle, it's a circle, so I need my ombre to move in a circle as well. And I like my circles with some doodling around them, so that's exactly what I'm doing using a Unipin Point 2. And while I'm doing that, I can already start telling you about the giveaway because Hardycraft was super nice. They sent me a couple of those amazing craft sheets for you guys. To win one of those, go to my Instagram account. The link is in the description of this video. Look for this photo, this one. It's in my Instagram account. Follow the instructions and who knows, I might be sending one of these babies to you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you back here next time. Butterfly kisses.